welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and gotta love live television. For the next hour, as you saw from our introduction, we are going to be finding all about the 4th of July parade this year. It's back, yay! But before I begin, as always, I need to go through some of the housekeeping rules. We are live this evening, as you already found out from our little kerfuffle there. So you are welcome to call at 781-270-9199, and you can speak with my wonderful guest, whom you will meet momentarily. But if you don't want to give us a call, you can always email me at talk@bcattv.org and ask your question there, send a suggestion for a future topic, whatever you'd like to do, because email is a wonderful tool that way. I would like to thank the crew for this evening. John Vias and Chris Flaherty are staff members here, making sure all of us volunteers behave ourselves and make sure we know what's going on. And they can also put out the fires because they know where the fire extinguisher is. Not that we need it. But I also want to thank the crew, the volunteer crew for this evening. We have Evan McNamee, Noel Donahue, and Evan Peckham. So they've given up their Wednesday evening to come hang out at BCAT. And for that, I am very grateful. So now I would like to, and tradition, I have to thank my husband, Paul, for staying home for daddy date night, even though half the daddy part is here, but he still has the other kid to look after. So thank you, Paul, for staying home for daddy date night. And my wonderful guest is Mr. Nick Priest, who is the new chair of the parade committee.
Yes.
Okay. You wear lots of hats.
I do. I brought one of my hats tonight.
I love that hat. It's very festive. So welcome. Thank you for giving up yet another evening.
Oh gosh.
To come hang out at BCAT and promote some really cool town stuff.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for the invite. I love coming on your show. I love coming to BCAT. As
so do I.
As your son and the other two young children in there know. It's great to give back and learn and experience this. I did it as a kid.
Cool.
A lot of fun memories. I mean, not in this studio necessarily, the studio across the hall, but.
Because that's my next question is where you grew up. But
Yep, yeah.
Cool. And I love the shirt. I really do.
Yeah, this is my new 4th. So I figured coming to talk about the 4th of July, I better come decked out. So I got my blue shorts, my American flag hat,
your
and
white
then this
and
awesome.
red.
I don't know if you guys can see this. This is, and I apologize for rubbing my mic. It's Ben Franklin flying an eagle kite, the Liberty Bell, and
lightning bolts
and fireworks. So it's almost as 4th of July as you can get.
I'm hoping that the lightning bolts will be limited to your shirt.
I hope so too.
Because yeah. I might melt in the rain. You've seen Wizard of Oz, haven't you?
I have, but you would not. No.
That's just I hope it's a joke, but yeah. So anyway, thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
And now that you kind of already led into that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah.
Where you grew up? I think it's Burlington. And how and why you decided to get more involved in the community?
Yeah. So I grew up here in Burlington. I was born at Winchester Hospital. People always say born and raised in Burlington. It's a bit of a misnomer. But I grew up my entire life here in town. Away for a couple of years in college. And then my wife and I, when we had the opportunity, came back, bought a house 10, 11 years ago. I've been raising our family ever since.
Excellent.
We have 4 kids, Penelope, Quentin, Harrison, and Margaret. They are all working their way into the school system. We have
Excellent.
2 in Fox Hill right now.
Excellent.
Burlington has always just been a really great and interesting place to be. It's got that community feel, and it is always striving to be better across all fronts. I mean, we could spend a whole hour talking about just, but that leads into, why I got involved.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago, I said, gosh, not only, are we back here raising our family, but, I grew up here. There's an opportunity for me to give back. And so, it started, as an initial exercise into, the possibility of various committees. And I work in marketing and advertising, and I really felt like the largest disconnect as it pertained to how residents and local government interacted was around communication. So I really felt there was a huge opportunity there for me to kind of get involved in a big way. So I ran for select board and eventually got it. Took me 2 tries, but got it. So for the last 3-ish years, just finished my first term, entering my second term.
Yeah.
I've been on the select board.
Congratulations for getting reelected.
Thank
so
you
you must be
very
doing a
much.
good job.
I hope so. I hope it's an indicator of the work that I'm doing. Just recently was elected by the board to be chair for the next year. So I'm chair of the select board.
So is that like a 1-year term thing?
Yep. So
Okay.
the way the select board operates in terms of chair and vice chairs, we rotate every year after the election.
Okay.
Gives everybody an opportunity to understand how the chair and vice chair seats function. Gives everyone an opportunity to lead and to be a part of different conversations, and it's a great way for the entire board to experience how local government functions.
Okay.
And then as I was running for select board, I remember I was attending a select board meeting and Mike Runyon had put out a call for volunteers for the 4th of July committee. And he was saying it's community run and we need people. And so after the meeting, I approached him. I said, "How can I help?" And that's how I got involved. So for the last 4 years, I've been helping out with that. And it's great because here in town we don't do a ton of parades. This is our big one.
This is like,
this might be the only one.
yeah.
But it's
Because we used to do like a very brief Memorial Day, and
Yep.
now we don't even do that.
Yeah. A lot changes, with different leadership and the availability of volunteers and the way things go. And even for a short time there, I think that we weren't even doing the 4th of July parade.
That's true.
It kind of went by the wayside a little bit, and that's just a marker of people's availability and time, and
it's a huge commitment.
it really is.
To plan
It
something
really
to
is.
that extent.
Yeah. Yep. So, I really felt like, if there was one parade we were going to do, it'd be the 4th of July parade, and we're going to do it well. And yeah, so I just, I really feel it's incumbent upon, anyone and everyone where you can give back to your community, because that's what makes a community strong, is our ability to engage and interact with each other and learn about each other and support each other. And we can do that through local government. We can do that through, community groups. But it's one of the biggest reasons why I got involved.
Just volunteering in general.
Just
is like
volunteering in
really
general.
important.
It's super important.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Speaking of the committee, as you mentioned, Mike Runyon had been on the 4th of July. He had been chair of the 4th of July committee. Now you are. Is it coincidental, or is it a requirement for there to be a select board member on said committee?
That's a great question. Yeah. So for a number of
Didn't
years,
think of that until I'm sitting here
I know.
listening to you.
For a number of years, Mike and Terry were running it as co-chairs, right, and doing a wonderful job.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to forget Terry. She's a marvelous person.
she is.
And
She
she's,
is. And
I always look forward to her emails saying, "Hey, you want to do the parade?"
right. And we've only built on. I mean, as the saying goes, you build and stand on the shoulders of giants, right? So everything that Mike and Terry have done has allowed us to continue doing what we're doing. Mike is still involved, still helping out, which is great. Yeah, it's not a requirement. Nobody has to be on the select board.
I'm just like, because there is that town connection and,
Yeah.
just
So-
trying to get the permits to close down the streets at certain times. I
Absolutely.
just wasn't sure if you had to pull a few strings.
Yeah, no string pulling, just a lot of kindness and grace. No, it's the 4th of July committee is entirely run by residents. It's not run by the town.
Okay.
It is financially supported by the town.
Now, is that every year, or is that just specifically this year because of the whole pandemic thing?
Excellent question. It is typically every year. This year, we did ask for more funding from town meeting, from the town, because we knew, based on prior conversations with some of our sponsors in prior years, that coming out of the pandemic was going to be very tough for a lot of businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, the finances weren't going to be there. We typically balanced it where, we'd have enough funding where it was almost like a 50-50 split.
Right. And you were also in prior years able to do fundraising.
Exactly.
Have an event and, you kind of can't do that either.
No,
this year.
obviously the last couple of years have been extremely difficult for everybody. And as you and I'm sure a lot of your viewers know, last year we managed to get the rolling rally up off the ground after having not done anything the year prior because of just the timing of the pandemic.
Well, yeah. But it was only going to be 2 weeks.
Right. Yep. And here we are 2 years later.
I know.
But
you're supposed to sense sarcasm in that statement.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's great to be back in person. It's it's a testament to everyone's enthusiasm to quite literally get back on the road.
Excellent.
And we're so much looking forward to it.
The rolling rally was fabulous last year, but it seemed to go by too quickly.
Yeah.
So the fact that people are actually going to be walking and it's not just rolling, hopefully it'll, be more of a gala or a huge event. So
Yeah. It's
instead of you blink and you miss it type thing.
Right. Yeah. It did. It was when you have folks walking, even though everyone's pausing for performances, right? Because everyone's quite literally rolling. It does move by a little bit faster than if you've got that coordination of people, car, car. So yeah, it did go by pretty quick. In fact, I remember being at the staging area, at the intersection of 62 and 3A, and we're like, okay, let's get everyone going. So everyone going. We got about half the parade out, and then I made my move to meet up with my family, and I felt like by the time I got there,
You missed it.
I missed like most of the parade, and I was like, wait a second, what just happened? I should have stayed.
Rewind, let's
I
do it
should have stayed
again.
at the staging area and just enjoyed the parade from there. But you're absolutely right. So
Well,
I
maybe
think,
this year they'll get you a golf cart.
I would love a little ATV just buzzing up and down. No, they.
One of those little, not segways, but like the little.
Oh, like
the little wheelie thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely kill myself in one of those. That's. No, they definitely give
Hovercraft or whatever it's called. It's
Yeah.
like a Segway without a handle.
We'll let the professionals deal with anything on wheels. I'll stick to walking.
Wheelies?
I don't know. A golf cart, I think, is the same.
You can ride in the something to talk about float.
See, there we go. I can catch a ride with you guys.
Absolutely.
I'm on it.
So you'll just have to kind of put that in your plan as
Exactly.
to when you can, leave the starting line and get to the finish line.
Yes, because I will not be running beside your float to jump on it. That's not gonna.
No.
No,
So, anyway. Well, you could, but
I could. Not gonna happen though.
So I don't remember how many years. Yes, so we, a little tangent here, little self-promotion, but we, for the past 3 years maybe, we've actually recorded an episode of Something to Talk About along the parade route.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
why I'm like, last year it went by so fast, I'm like, I didn't have enough time to get a show in. So, Chris Flaherty and John Vias worked their magic and managed to, get an airable show out of it. So for that, I am eternally grateful. But I am looking forward to a normal parade this year.
Yes.
And
it'll
we
be
have a
much
new
more normal.
towing vehicle. We have a new trailer this year. So
Awesome.
hopefully the decorations that I used last year. Last year we did whole new decorations. So hopefully they'll fit on the new float.
I'm sure they will. And if not, I'm sure that your ingenuity will make it all
We'll
work.
see. A little bit of duct tape, Well, one year I used hot glue to decorate the float, and it turned out to be a year that was 95-degree plus temperatures.
Oh, no.
And there were chunks of my float falling off because the hot glue melted.
Oh no.
So we're not doing hot glue gun anymore.
No, not hot glue guns.
No. So, okay, Mike is still on the committee.
Yes.
You're becoming more involved
Yes.
in the committee, but there seems to have been a lot of, not necessarily turnover, but a lot of new voices in this year's committee. Do you want to talk about how you managed to recruit new people and what the, because there's always, with new people, there are new ideas. So how does that work into everything?
Yeah. So recruitment is a lot of me begging people. I'm good at groveling.
I was just thinking, bribe them with chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, when in doubt. It's interesting, they always say that, if you want something done, you go to a busy person.
I have heard that.
It seems like, those people who are already volunteering for things are the pool of people that you tend to kind of keep circulating through. And I think that naturally we all experience a level of burnout, right? So some folks this year said, you know what, after the last couple of years, I can't.
Yeah.
This
Stick
year,
a fork in me, I'm done.
Right, yeah. And that's not to say that they've closed the door on, coming back. Just folks need a break.
Little time
Folks
off.
need a break. A lot of folks came back, which is fantastic. And then, yes, some folks who had been like teetering with it the past couple of years, fully committed. Some new folks came in. We kind of put out a blast, back in January, saying, we need volunteers because like I was saying, the committee is resident run, right? So it's not like we're appointing people to this. Not like there is an election happening. It's, do you want to be involved? What are you bringing to the table?
And what can you do?
Right. We love your enthusiasm. Here's how we think you might be able to help out. So we got a whole bunch of new folks. And, at that point, from a leadership perspective, it's all about making sure that folks feel seen and heard. We have an opportunity to share ideas.
Okay.
We make sure that, all the logistics and the basics are covered off on.
Okay.
And I think that because we were ramping up so fast from January to now, because really we're watching, the world. We're like, okay, is there going to be another variant? Is there going to be, everyone's on bated breath wondering what's going to happen next. And if things for some reason did, go negative, will we even be able to have a parade, right? So we're very cautious in the planning for this year, but we try to hit the ground running with some new folks and some folks who've been with us to get us into a good place to make sure that we had a parade, back to normal this year. It's super exciting. But I'll take a moment just to say that if folks are interested in getting involved, we have a Facebook page, we have a website, contact me, right? My information's everywhere.
We know where you live.
Right, yeah. Contact Mike Running. Call Town Hall. In this particular case, you've got 2 select board members who also happen to be a part of this committee. So there are avenues to reach us.
Okay.
And your involvement can be as much as you want it to be. Do you want to volunteer just the day of? Are you away that weekend and you want to volunteer, periodically throughout the year, right? The goal is that on July 5th, once the parade is over, we start planning again for next year. And we use that year to fundraise and to get the word out.
Weary?
No rest. There's no no rest.
Man.
None whatsoever. So, I think that as far as committee commitment goes, this is a committee that you can absolutely be involved in that does not require a massive amount of effort on the individual, while still being a ton of fun, producing something at the end that we can all be proud of, happy with, that, it lights up people's faces.
Everybody loves the parade.
Yeah, parades, I remember being a kid and going to the parades, and having that experience and, being a part of it. It's a lot of fun. And it's a different kind of volunteering than if you're running for local office or you're trying to affect change in a different way. This is just a really fun thing that we can all get behind and celebrate the birth of our nation.
Cool.
All right.
I love it.
Here we go.
Okay. I'm not going in any order or
No,
anything,
of course.
but I'm also thinking, okay, we totally didn't have any parade at all 2 years ago.
Correct.
Last year was the Rolling Rally. A lot of people are still in transition from the whole pandemic thing. You also talked about planning. How early do you have to start reserving some of the performing groups? Like a couple years ago, I think, or not a couple years ago, because that was 2 years ago, but in prior years, we've had the Shriners on the little go-karts, and, we've had marching parades. We've had, a band on a flatbed. No, not marching parades, marching bands. Bands on a flatbed. The state police, the cheerleaders. How soon do you have to get the commitments from them, or do they have to get the commitment from you, whichever direction it goes?
Yeah. So we reach out in February, essentially.
Okay.
And say, we're doing the parade. This is like your first notice.
Okay.
And then as time progresses, we follow up and we affirm. So, we go from February, you get into the end of March, right? Early April. Just want to confirm you are in fact.
Really gonna do this?
We're gonna be here this year. We're very fortunate that a lot of the participants in the parade, the bands and the Shriners, they've been doing this with us for a number of years now. So they kind of already have us just penciled in the back of their mind.
Okay.
It's not, foreign or new. So, it's like, it's us from Burlington, we still on? And they're like, and we're like, thank you so much. We humbly appreciate everything you do. And so, when you get to that point, then the question becomes, okay, who else wants to be in the parade?
Okay.
Right? How can we make it bigger?
Okay.
Right?
So are you limited in how big it can be, or is it just like, let's see what else we can do? Sorry.
I mean, at this point in time, I wouldn't put any limit on it. I think
No,
that,
sorry, we reached our quota. You can't march.
I mean, obviously, like in terms of like staging space and the logistics around that, and then the logistics of how everyone ends the parade down by Memorial, become something that need to be discussed. Like when we did the rolling rally, we actually used Pine Glen as the staging area because everything was a vehicle. No one was walking. So things were spaced differently. So we had to kind of use Pine Glen down 62
and then turning
and then onto 3A to allow for the vehicles to have space to move through. Whereas typically we use the Presbyterian Church right there on the intersection, and they're gracious enough to allow for the use of their parking lot and their facilities.
Oh yeah.
While everyone's kind of getting ready, and we kind of get some folks on 3A, and then we get some folks in the parking lot, and everything's right, and then we start releasing. You release the hounds.
Release the hounds.
So that was when it comes to logistics. Obviously, like in terms of size, that comes into question.
Okay.
And then if for some reason we were going to have a float or something that would require some other kind of logistics that DPW would need to be notified of, the police would be notified of, fire, things like that. But at this point, I mean, I just want to see who else we can get involved, right? The high school marching band,
right?
The tech, right? Like easy things, simple things, people, right? Like I'm not trying to put on the Disney parade, right?
Yet.
You never know. No, I mean,
everyone needs a goal.
Well, right, exactly, right. An aspiration, something to shoot towards.
Exactly.
No, I mean, we already have such great involvement, right? Okay. It's just at this point I want to, strengthen relationships and see where we can push it, and see who else we can involve.
Now, because I also remember many years ago, I think when Mike and Terry first brought the parade back from its hiatus, Mike was saying that some of the participants, the professional participants, were like, well, I have a parade at this town at this hour, but what time is yours? And if you put me in the back. Is there still a lot of that, or...
There's still a decent number.
You still have to juggle?
Yeah. So some of those more professional, we'll say, participants, absolutely, right. They'll come to us in the morning, and then they'll go do the afternoon parade in Waltham or Dedham or wherever.
I don't know where the other ones are. I'm just.
But yeah, that's one of the reasons why we have our parade in the morning too.
Oh, okay.
So a fair number of communities around us have their parades in the early or late afternoons.
Oh, okay.
And so it kind of all has organically taken shape, that we're all kind of maximizing as many of the same participants as humanly possible.
Right.
And so, yeah, as we look for new participants, folks that want to be involved, if they're more professional, if it's a performance thing, or then hopefully the coordination is less. But if it's a local group that is going from one parade to the next, how can we coordinate and fit into your schedule?
Okay.
Yeah.
And you fill them in with people like me.
You are just as important. I would never say that.
But I don't have any time constraints.
But that means that I can put you anywhere in the parade.
Exactly.
And that's the only difference.
Although, the really cool thing, I understand the limitations at the start of the parade, because yes, the Presbyterian parking lot is only so big.
Correct.
Pine Glen's parking lot is only so big. But I noticed last year, and kind of sort of in prior years, that I don't remember who it was, but there was a person at the end saying, okay, you are going into Memorial School's parking lot and you are going to Marshall Simon's parking lot. So, you know, seeing that my family was in 3 different groups, I'm like, where are my kids? But it made things a lot easier because you weren't worried about running over pedestrians or, so I really liked that idea.
Well, between the volunteers and the police details that we have, we try to make it as smooth a process for everybody. And, it allows the folks that need to get moving the opportunity to be, separated from the folks who don't have to be, aren't in the same time constraints as they might be. So,
and it just seems so much less crowded, and it was just, okay, I can chill now that, because even though I'm just, in my own little 8x8 trailer, still a lot of stress.
It is.
Anything new going on this year with the parade that, okay, we're not comparing it to last year because last year was totally different.
Excuse me.
But, are there any new groups that you want to highlight, or is the parade route changing, or, anything like that?
So the parade route's the same.
Okay.
It'll start at the Presbyterian Church and end at the Legion and Memorial. The Legion is obviously, huge sponsor and advocate of the parade.
That's where the BCAT van parks.
Yes, it is where the BCAT van parks, and cool. they are so good to us in terms of being just a wonderful sponsor and partner. And every year, as you know, they put on the participant breakfast.
Oh, I love that,
which is just phenomenal. And then Representative Ken Gordon sends a shuttle van down, so that way the walking participants can get from.
Yeah, I remember the school buses.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The little, it's almost like the COA bus.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Because a couple of times there were, big school buses that swept people.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and so we just we rely on, again, the kindness of other volunteers who are willing to step forward and be there for us.
Excellent.
It's wonderful. We do have a lot of returning participants. I will be honest. I think that we're of all the participants in the past, parades, I want to say we're at like 70-75% capacity.
Wow.
Meaning that's how many are coming back, either due to time constraints or leadership changes within their own organizations.
Okay.
Or just not being prepared coming out of the pandemic. There's a lot of folks that were unable to.
Okay.
So a lot of folks RSVP'd their regrets, but said, hey, reach back out next year,
okay.
right? Because it's just weird this year. But we have a lot of returning folks. Waltham and Dedham's, both of their Legion bands are coming. The Hot Tamales, their brass band is back. The Shriners are bringing back, their cavalcade of, things. So they've got the drifters and they've got the, go-karts and they've got, the fire brigade, all the fun things.
Excellent.
It's great. Obviously, police and fire are involved. We've got our stilt walkers back this year.
Oh, fun.
We actually were approached by a new participant. The organization's name is called Flippin' Out, and they do trampoline stunts on the back of this like massive flatbed.
Okay, that just sounds scary because you jump up and when you
would
come
think it's
down,
moving.
the trampoline might be 10 feet away.
So I watched all of their videos from different parades that they do, and I've been assured that it's perfectly safe. It looked like most of the stunts they were doing were in a more or less stopped fashion.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to be doing too many flipping while in motion type of things.
I would make sure their liability insurance.
For sure. That was the thing. That was question one I asked. I was like, "You're covering liability. God forbid something happens, right?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we're
that
good."
also, all of a sudden my brain's going wild, and okay, we have the trampolines this year. We're going to have the trapeze artists next year. What could possibly go wrong?
I tell you, it's definitely unique. You know, but I figured, you know, if there was an opportunity coming back to a normal parade this year to have something really cool and out there, this is that. So I hope folks enjoy it. You know, but yeah, just I mean, like I said, a lot of folks returning. I'm super excited about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you know, folks typically get, you know, excited about. Your float's going to be in it.
My float's going to be in it.
And that's,
I can't wait.
We love having
and
you.
BCAT is covering it.
And BCAT's covering it.
I don't think they do it live. I don't think we can do it live.
It's taped.
I think it's recorded for playback later, but everybody's going to want to be there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I tell you, you know, one of the most enjoyable parts for me is dorky, but you know, it's so obviously participants start getting ready at 8 a.m. Right, 2 hours ahead of the parade.
Setting up the chairs.
Well, you know, so like people in the parade.
Oh,
we've got like
okay.
folks
I
coming
thought you
down,
meant like the spectators, because I do want to talk about the spectators.
Absolutely, the volunteers, and this will help segue into that. The volunteers get there. You know, we're you know, prepping everybody, and getting the staging area all set, and making sure everything's ready. But as you go up and down 3A between the Legion and the Presbyterian Church, there are chairs already out.
That is so cool.
So people, the spectators, whether it was the night before or they got up at the crack of dawn, right?
They got up at 8
they're
o'clock.
Like, they're
this
you know,
is a good spot.
taking their launch. They're like, this is mine. Nobody's touching this. This is our spot. And people have their spots. People have their spots.
I've
they
actually
go to every
noticed
year.
that being along the parade route. You know, it's like, oh wait, I know. You know.
Yep. We have our spot right in front of the used bookstore, the old pool and patio. So we've been for years.
I think that's a popular spot because there's parking.
Yes.
And, you know, I also want to ask you about street closures if you know yet. But there's also enough back roads where you can go, you know, in the back roads and then down Skelton or Skelton, whatever's next to CVS, and kind of take the back way into that parking lot and, you know, make a quick escape so you could get to the finish line.
Yep.
Or the end. Is it called the finish line?
It can be.
Okay.
I don't typically call it the finish line, but I mean,
I'm-
it's not a race per se.
What I know, but I'm just, you know, my brain is turning to mush, and I'm like, what do you call the finish line of a parade?
The end.
The end. Okay, the beginning, the end.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
you start at one point, you end at the other. You know.
Okay. But yes, I have noticed that, and people tend to favor, as you're marching, they favor, you know, the CVS side.
Yes.
You know, because there just seem to be sidewalks on that side.
More sidewalk,
and
more parking.
less poison ivy.
Less poison.
You
Yes.
know, let's be realistic here.
Although, and I mean, you know, I know you've seen this. I love when you get onto Winn Street.
Yes.
And, you know, again, I've only walked in,
There's a lot of shade on
one
Winn
parade.
Street.
There's a ton of
which
shade.
is-
I love the folks who live on Winn Street, who their friends come over. They've got like in 2019 when the select board walked the parade, they had there was like a kiddie pool out in like one of the front yards. Like folks,
And they put those pop-up
they
canopy
settle
things.
in for the morning.
have
Like
the whole
this is
party.
a whole thing, you know. And then and this is what I love about our morning parade, is that everything wraps, everyone's home before noon, and then you go to your cookout.
Yeah.
Right. Like I mean, we're all, you know, we're prepping the night before for our cookouts. You know, there you go. Go
And you
spend
can
the
go
afternoon.
to somebody else's parade.
And you go to somebody else's parade or somebody else's pool, depending on, you know, whose house you're going to.
Oh my gosh, when you're talking about the kiddie pool, I had a flashback to, I don't know if it was 2019 or before, but somebody actually had a white dog that they got like the hair dye paint, and they decorated the dog in red, white, and blue.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I felt so bad for the dog. It looked awesome, but I'm like, okay, I'm a cat person. Cats would never tolerate that. But it's just, you know, you mentioned it earlier. It's just so nice to see everybody in a good mood.
Yeah.
In a great mood.
In a great mood.
Okay, so we'll probably be bouncing all around because I'm the queen of tangents.
All good.
Normally, you know, some towns have a parade and then like a big festival. In the past, we've actually had fireworks in the evening, and sometimes there's been like a band performing at the gazebo on the common.
Yep.
Any idea if we'll be able to pull that off? If you'll be able to pull this off this year? I'm not going to say we.
If the committee, I never say me.
Yes, if the committee.
If the committee.
Okay.
So we are in talks with the fireworks company, the provider.
Okay.
Trying to nail it down. If it is going to happen, it's probably going to happen on July 1st.
Okay.
The biggest contention that we've had the past couple of years when we do the fireworks is because it is the fireworks season.
Exactly.
Right,
You know, everybody wants fireworks on the 4th of July. So, you know, law of supply and demand.
Exactly. And so, you know,
Little supply, huge demand.
That's right. They can pick and choose how they you know, coordinate things. And so they said, you know, we could pencil you in on July 1st. So we're still trying to, you know, coordinate all of that. So if it does happen, it'll be on July 1st. We're unclear whether or not there'll be a band. We're hoping for at least the fireworks.
Okay.
But we also are trying to have the conversation and say, what's it going to take to get July 4th? And for how long can we have it? Right? So, like, I'd even consider entering into a longer-term contract or a memorandum of understanding.
Okay.
And say, you know, what's it going to take for us to have fireworks on the 4th of July?
Oh,
right? Because I think, like when you think about, you know, the day, right? If it was a weekend, if we had the volunteers, if we had the funding, if we had everything in a perfect world, and we could do a full weekend, right? Where, like, we kick it off with fireworks and we, you know, go through the whole weekend with like a thing on the common, and then we have the parade. That's, you know, pie in the sky thinking, right?
We can dream.
Yeah, without question. Then it would make sense to not worry about having the fireworks on the 4th.
Right.
But I think what we're thinking is, you know, if everything's consolidated on the 4th, you have the parade in the morning, folks can go the rest of their day, do what they're going to do, cookouts, visit friends, family, celebrate, and then they can come out at night and wrap the day with the fireworks, right? And depending on where you are in town, you might not need to make it all the way to the common, right? You just find a nice vantage point and watch the fireworks. So this year we'll see, but you know, long term we do want to have a more consistent experience for the residents.
And do you know yet? Feel free to say no, but if and when the fireworks happen, where would they be launched from? High school again?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe the high school.
Because I know one year they tried behind the rec center, and I don't know what happened. I don't need to know. But, you know, I know, like, when you're sitting on the common, you need to know which direction to face.
Yes.
And there are some amazing trees that provide wonderful shade. And, you know, the landscaping is always amazing on the common. But depending on where you're sitting and where they're being launched from, you know, you might have a giant tree in your way and you won't be able to see the fireworks.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
I know the last couple of years I've been involved, I've always tried to, like, get a hold of a microphone and make an announcement, right? Folks, this year the fireworks are coming from, you know, the rec, and that way everyone can face, right, where they were.
Because as soon as they start, as soon as the first one goes off, you see, like, all the people.
Right, yeah, everyone's grabbing their chair and they're turning.
And move
you know,
and
it's like,
dragging
oh, it's over
blankets.
here. Yeah, I think, you know, it comes down to the fire marshal's recommendation and the safety protocols as to where. I believe the high school winds up being a safer spot.
Okay.
But it's obviously lower geographically than the common. And so, you know, I think in years past, people, at least the comments I've heard is, you know, the fireworks don't seem to get up high enough, you know, for the experience. That's like, well, then we need to talk to the fire marshal. It's a big talk about logistics, right? That's a big coordination effort.
And I remember talking to somebody who's like, well, isn't it just our DPW guys that launch the fireworks? It's like,
No.
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 You're playing with high explosives here, so they are highly trained professionals.
A lot of rules and regulations.
Right.
Yeah.
And you also want to keep the public safe, so you can't exactly launch them from, you know, the upper baseball diamond at Simon's Park.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly.
What could possibly go wrong, you know, with the trampoline people, you know? All right, I'm sorry, I digress. We talked a little bit about participations. Is it too late for people to sign up for the parade?
To be in the parade?
To be in the parade?
I would say no. Okay. I would say that if you are...
Because we're talking like 3-4 weeks
from
now.
Yeah, we're down to the wire at this point. It's June 8th, right? So, less than a month to go. Mm-hmm. But if you are willing and able and you want to put together a float, or you have a vehicle with a sign, or you want to walk in the parade with a banner, contact us, right? Okay. Use every means that I mentioned earlier. Send me a carrier pigeon, send smoke signals, whatever you need to do. It's not like I live far away.
Yeah, that's true.
Get a hold of us. Tell us what you're thinking.
Oh my gosh, I think, when you were just talking about that, it spawned a memory. I think one year, right behind us, it was this family that just happened to own a golf cart that they wanted to have the family golf cart in the parade. And they blasted some awesome music right behind us. I was like, yeah, I like this. I'm kind of dancing along and everything. Oh, okay. I don't know if you finished this thought that I had earlier, but spectators.
Yes.
We talked about the spectators lining up at the crack of dawn to get the right seats. What advice do you have to give to someone who may never have been to our parade before? What are your favorite spots?
Favorite spots. So I think that a great spot to be is in the Dunkin' Donuts area, where Winn Street and Cambridge Street, that intersection it's a huge intersection. Mm-hmm. You could, because the whole intersection is shut down, right?
That's true.
I'm not saying you can be anywhere, right. But it's nice and big. If for some reason someone in your family isn't comfortable with loud noises, you have small kids, mm-hmm. You can be a little bit further from the action.
Okay.
You can kind of distance yourself. I always tell folks, if loud noises aren't necessarily your thing, or again, you have small kids, earmuffs, earplugs, right? Things like that are always great to bring. I suggest you bring water.
I was about to say water.
Because I feel like it's either, like you said earlier, it's either 95 degrees and sunny, or it's pouring. Right? like lately, like the last 7 years, those are the two types of weather we've kind of had on the 4th of July. So,
oh my gosh, that's right. Last year it just started to rain.
Last year it just started to rain, and then in 2019 it rained just before the fireworks.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
An absolute torrential downpour.
I remember that.
The common was like
parade was good.
Parade was great. Parade was sunny.
That night, the rain didn't come down in drops. It just came down in one giant
big sheet. Yeah. And then a couple of years prior, it rained during the parade. Folks were out there with their umbrellas. Okay.
I don't think I did that year. I think that may predated.
Yeah. A lot of folks were like, "Here we go. This is going to be a fun one." But yeah,
it's not rain. It's liquid sunshine.
That's right. You got to think positive. Glass is half full.
Exactly.
Come prepared. Right. So you bring your chairs.
Sunscreen.
You come comfy. Sunscreen. Snacks for kids. It's always like that weird, because the parade goes from 10 to 11 in the morning. Mm-hmm. It's always that point after breakfast.
Is it starting at 10? I thought in the prior years it started at 11. Regardless of what it did before, when is it starting this year? Let's not confuse matters.
We'll see. Check the website for all the final details.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure I show up on time.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'll make sure everyone's there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think, bring snacks, bring water, hats, sunglasses, all the things you might expect you want to bring. Dress appropriately,
Absolutely.
Right? If you can. Come
be
colorful.
Kind to your dog, though.
Always be kind to your pets,
to your dog.
without
Okay.
question. So, come prepared to have a good time.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. I'm finally looking at my questions. First, we're talking about, make sure you have water and sunscreen, because dehydration could be an issue either for the participants in the parade or the spectators. What kind of safety protocols or first aid considerations does the committee need to make to make sure everybody stays safe?
Yes. So we work closely with the DPW to coordinate having folks in little ATV golf cart type things. You might have seen them in years prior, buzzing up and down the parade route. making sure that folks are well hydrated, and that if anyone is experiencing an issue, we can get them off the route someplace safe in a quick and efficacious manner. So we take safety and health, very, very, highly. It's very, very important to us. So, we're very much on top of that.
Are the police and fire departments involved because they're first aid
Yes.
knowledgeable?
Yep, we have EMS, EMT. We have I want to say 2 people. I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
But we have.
But you have
people
medical professionals as
Yep,
well.
on site.
Okay.
Yep. So and that way, if someone's experiencing an issue, we can get that person to them.
Okay.
If someone's like, hey, this person isn't, toss them in the cart, get them there, and then yes, we have police details along the route.
Okay.
So definitely plenty of eyes and ears watching, making sure that everyone not only having a good time but being safe doing it.
Exactly. Because we want to be able to make sure that everybody can go to the fireworks.
Absolutely.
Or to those picnics or to the Friends swimming pool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I know I've been really bad in paying attention to local news, even though I know BCAT does a fabulous job. I remember reading that the town is actually sponsoring the overall parade this year.
Yes.
Do I want to ask what the dialogue was moving into that? Because I know some town meeting members are very particular and very thrifty with spending the town money, which I greatly appreciate. But, the 4th of July parade, it's just a parade. It's done in a couple of hours. Why are we investing all the money in this?
Yes.
So there's that balance. And, town meeting is a boatload of people, all with different opinions. So how is that approached? Was there a lot of controversy? Did it kind of go through smoothly? Did the committee have to come up with a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C in case stuff got shot down?
I mean, yes. So knowing that we were going to have little to no funding from corporations this year, we knew that going into it that we'd have to ask town meeting to fund essentially the whole parade. Obviously, that was much different than years prior where we were asking for half.
Right.
So going into it, we were concerned, but hopeful. As the chair, I supplied a letter to Ways and Means.
Okay.
So as we entered into budgeting season,
Okay.
right? Everything goes before Ways and Means,
Right.
Select Board, appropriate boards, bodies, and then all the votes are put together, and then it goes to town meeting for discussion,
Okay.
right, and the final vote. So in the case of the parade this year, we met with a subcommittee of Ways and Means first.
Okay. We as in the parade committee.
We as the
Okay.
parade committee.
Well, because like we mentioned earlier, you wear many
I wear
hats,
many
so
hats, yes.
just want to make sure we got our pronouns in
Absolutely.
the appropriate subjects.
Yes, we the 4th of July committee
Okay.
met with a subcommittee of Ways and Means
Okay.
to discuss the why behind the ask, right?
Okay.
Because it was different, and they were very understanding, right? I think that when you don't just look at the parade as, oh, we're putting on a one-time thing. This is a community event. This is something that brings community members together, right? This is, especially after the last 2 years, a really great mental health break, right?
That's true. Yeah.
It's positive for so many reasons, right? That all the positives outweighed the ask.
Okay.
So the subcommittee said that they would support it. It went to Ways and Means in full session. Any of the concerns, right, around the additional funding were understood, right? So the biggest question was, well, is this going to become a new thing? Do you expect the town just to fund this every year?
Right.
And the answer was, of course, no. Right. This is a bridge gap, a bridge year.
Right.
right? We're asking for the town to help us put this parade on this year so we can start getting back to normal, so we can give the residents of Burlington something to look forward to, right? So Ways and Means voted, I believe, unanimously in favor. Went before town meeting, and I don't recall the vote. I want to say it was unanimous. If not, it was very close to unanimous. Because again, right, like despite people's difference in opinion, I think the 4th of July parade is something that we can all get behind, right? As you know, a large community event that we just, you know, we all gravitate towards. So everyone I think understood and understands the importance of an event like this. You know, they're all excited by it. They were glad that we could get back in person this year. Yay. And, you know, have, you know, walking and riding and all this year flipping, you know, it was a very positive experience.
Burlington's version of Cirque du Soleil.
Right. Yeah. That's,
okay. Maybe not.
But you know, I mean, I'm, you know, forever grateful, you know, that, the residents who are elected at the town meeting, you know, see the parade like that, you know, and that their constituents, the people of Burlington, by and large, the parade like that, you know, and it's great because I mean, you know, as you know, like we have so many different types of floats, and you know, everyone gets involved, and it's just like we've been talking about. It's just so wonderful. It makes me feel good to think about.
It's warm fuzzy.
It is.
Hopefully not too warm.
Well, you know. July 4th, I better be a little bit warm.
Well, that's true. This is New England, you know, and climate change is real. Oh, okay, I'm not even going to go there. What does happen if the weather doesn't cooperate? The parade's rain or shine, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. If we're expecting severe weather,
okay,
we'd have to get together and decide whether or not a delay or a cancellation would be possible. We really try to avoid those kinds of things.
Right. Well, you know, hurricane season does start June 1st, so you never know.
Yeah, hurricanes. I mean, well, you know, and I mean, heaven forbid, you know, there's a severe thunderstorm warning, right? Whereas possible lightning strikes. Like we don't want anyone out in weather like that. That is just not safe. You know, so we'd have to just, you know, make smart decisions in the moment and do our best to notify everybody. Again, a great reason why having those ATV carts and having folks who can get up and down the route quickly is really important, so we can notify folks, right? We have the police details there who can notify folks, get the word out fast, right? Look, folks, thunderstorm imminent, pushing the parade by, whatever. Go to your cars, go home, come back.
Run in the parade.
Right, yeah. It's a whole new kind of parade. We're all going to sprint to the end.
So there is a finish line.
Now it's a finish line.
Now there's going to be a finish line.
Now there's a finish line. It's a whole new kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I know you said you've been on the parade committee for a few years now. What are your, you know, and we've also talked about pie in the sky, you know, dream, resources, infinite. Realistically, where do you see the parade going in, like, let's say the next 5 years? Or so?
5 years? 5 years?
Or how many years ahead do you want to go?
We can talk 5 years.
We can do the 1, 3, and 5, but we only have 4 minutes left. So
well, we can let's be optimistic, right? So in 5 years, you know, I would like to, you know, see the parade a little bit bigger. You know, more community involvement. I think it's one thing to like bring in, you know, participants, right? Like you know, the stilt walkers, like those are performance type acts, right?
Right.
But to have community floats, right? To have neighborhoods banding together to put together.
That would be cool.
It could be celebrating the 4th of July. Like, you know, it doesn't have, like, as long as it's, you know, reasonable and respectful, and you clear it with the committee, we want to see that type of engagement.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I love your float so much, right? Is that, you know, here you are as a resident and a volunteer putting together a handmade float. That's what I want to see. You know, that plus some of the performance acts and, you know, the bands and the musical numbers and the you know, we had like the ROTC doing, you know, their thing.
Didn't they do like drills and like do the?
It's absolutely incredible. You know, so like you mix it with all those things, with the fire engines, the police cars, and the antique vintage cars, all that stuff. That's what makes the parade. Just jamming it full of you know, performance stuff. That's, I mean, yeah, it can be fun, you know, but to be able to like sit there and see your friends in the parade, right? Or, you know, be a part of it, you know, and wave to family and friends who are there. Like that's what it's all about. That's what I want to see more of over the next 5 years.
Yeah, okay.
And then to grow and evolve it, you know, where, you know, maybe in that, you know, Winn Street, Cambridge Street intersection area, you know, we have all that parking, all that space, you know, like I'd love to have like our judges stand there.
Ooh,
And, you know, like I'd love to like expand to other community things, right? Like I think about, you know, like what if we had like a bike decorating contest, and kids would decorate their bikes and then ride them in the parade, and then they get to the judges stand, they be judged, and there's a prize, right? And then, you know, they finish the route, something like that, right? Like there are little ways that we can expand it. What we need is we need volunteers and we need fundraising.
Okay.
Those are the two linchpins. Is that we need people who are willing to be involved. Well, three things. I take it back.
Okay.
We need the volunteers, we need the funding, and then we need the people to participate. We need the community, right? Because none of this happens without the community. So that's what I'd like to see in the next 5 years, is really getting more brilliant and engaged to come out, you know, kick some butt, take some names, have a great time. I'm self-censoring.
There you go. Absolutely. And, you know, every year, you know, you know, in my experience, it's kind of been fun because every year I try making just a few more changes to make it a little bit better.
That's right.
So, you know, it's a much smaller scale, but just like, you're like, okay, this year we're going to do this, and this year we're going to make it a little bigger, and this year a little bigger.
I tell you, you know, it's important for folks to understand, as much fun as it is to be a spectator, it is just as much fun, if not more fun, to be in the parade.
That's true.
It's a whole different kind of experience, you know? And so, like, you don't have to do it every year, right? Like, if your neighborhood gets together and makes this awesome float to celebrate, you know, it's an eagle, or it's Uncle Sam's hat, or whatever it is on the back of a flatbed, and you want to stand there and wave and have a great time and play music, whatever, do it. You can't do it the year after. That's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay. But, like, do it. Don't let anything hold you back.
Just check it out.
You
Exactly.
know, this is why this is here. You know, to be involved, and then in my opinion, the more people that are in it, the more people that stay around the area.
There you go.
To watch the parade.
Excellent.
Right. So.
But we are out of time.
Out of time.
Out of time. So for now, but we'll just have to continue this conversation along the parade route.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming. I love talking to you about this because it just like jazzes me up, and I can't wait for, you know, can't wait to build my float. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I hope everyone who's been watching is getting really jazzed for the parade. Hopefully you can stake your claim along the parade route, or give Nick a call and you could be in the parade. So anyway, we are out of time. Hope you have a wonderful evening, a wonderful weekend, a wonderful summer quickly approaching, and I will see you around town. Good night.